Welcome to this week's Movie Math, where Ender's Game might have won the domestic frame, but all eyes are already on Thor: The Dark World, which opened overseas before it hits theaters stateside this coming weekend. Yes, while Ender Wiggin might be the big little man at battle school, he's hopelessly outmatched by Thor at the box office, where the Norse god and Avenger is clearly developing yet another solid trilogy for Marvel Studios. Kevin Feige and company continued with their proven release strategy of opening their flicks overseas first, which not only builds buzz going into each film's domestic release, but also builds goodwill with foreign audiences who usually have to wait weeks, if not months, for Hollywood fare to reach them. Thor: The Dark World opened in 70% of the foreign market, pulling in a little over $100 million, while claiming the #1 spot literally across the map in 36 countries. When the sequel debuts here in the US this coming weekend, it's expected to pull in another $100 million, far outpacing the first Thor's debut in 2011. That still won't put him in Iron Man territory, but it will put him awfully close to another guy in a red cape, Superman. But with Rush crashing and burning just a few weeks prior, it might be the guy in green who's the real competitor. Now, as for Ender's Game, the kiddie war flick opened about as expected domestically, but was crushed by Thor overseas. That's a genuine problem for Ender's Game because it needs to perform globally in order to recoup its huge $110 million budget, much less turn a profit. And remember, that budget does not include advertising. Ender's Game is a unique film that one of its co-producers is special effects house Digital Domain. It is very rare for a special effects house to be involved in actually producing films, but perhaps they need to start becoming involved at that level to get the respect and piece of the pie that they deserve. And it was very cool to see their logo at the beginning of the movie. Plus, while Ender's Game might be far from claiming box office victory, at least it's not DOA, like other recent young adult flicks The Host, Beautiful Creatures, and Mortal Instruments. And that's most likely because it was able to reach beyond the young adult demographic, with 58% of its audience over the age of 25. Interestingly, the Mortal Instruments sequel has said it will also try to reach out to older viewers, while Twilight and the Hunger Games already did and do a good job bringing in the older demographic. Because, you know, kids who read the books do get older, and people of all ages enjoy a good story. Yet studio execs go and take the young adult label literally. Hollywood! Sometimes you're so stupid! 2 other movies opened wide this weekend, yet neither could compete with Johnny Knoxville. Fascinatingly, Bad Grandpa enjoyed the smallest second-week drop of the entire Jackass franchise. And while it will never be able to duplicate the Jackass 3D worldwide haul, it is definitely on track to surpass the first 2 flicks. And it's got to hurt that audiences would rather spend time with Irving Zisman than real-life grandpas De Niro, Douglas Freeman, and Klein. The foursome came in at #3 with around $16 million, but can take some solace that's about the best CBS films can do when it comes to launching a movie. In fact, only Daniel Radcliffe's star of The Woman in Black has been a bigger opener for the mini distributor. Plus, for this group these days, $16 million is totally in line, if not stronger than their usual debuts. But Freebirds is indeed a turkey, drastically underperforming for a contemporary animated flick. Even Turbo, Planes, and Epic had bigger debuts, yet all 3 are for more established animation houses. Then again, when Blue Sky Studios debuted back in 2002 with Ice Age, it was to the tune of $46 million. As for the rest of the box office, Gravity, Captain Phillips, and Cloudy 2 continued to stretch their legs, while Carrie and The Counselor had theirs chopped off, particularly for the Ridley Scott thriller, which dropped almost 60% in its second weekend and barely managed to stay in the top 10. Over in the specialty market, things started to get a little bumpy with some winners and losers. 12 Years a Slave expanded its run yet again and jumped over 100% box office-wise. Dallas Buyers Club also opened, and while it might have waited a little too long to hit theaters after the strong buzz it got all the way back at the Toronto International Film Festival, it still boasted a healthy per-screen average. Speaking of release strategies, perhaps About Time should have opened wide, as it failed to connect with the indie audience. Now it will likely have to look to on-demand to find success, where Man of Tai Chi is currently making the bulk of its cash. Keanu Reeves' directorial debut pulled in $1.5 million on demand, while it made just a little over $100 grand in theaters. Finally, Diana, which has been getting slaughtered by reviewers, suffered a similar fate as it debuted in limited release. The bio hasn't fared much better overseas, and it now looks like Jessica Chastain shouldn't feel too bad she lost the role to Naomi Watts after all. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.